Welcome everybody to another episode of Dr. Dallas Unleashed.
Woo!
I am Dr. Dallas. Woo! And we have with us, as always, Dr. Wynn, also known as Dr. Rejuvenation.
Yes.
Woo!
Hey, everyone.
Hey.
Hi. We also have Amber.
Hey, guys.
And we also have Angelica.
What's up?
How's it going? So we have a lot of new listeners to the podcast. So we wanted to reintroduce some of the people here on the podcast. Yeah. So Amber, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself and what you do here at the office?
So my name is Amber. I'm the Chief Operating Officer. I've been here for about
about
7.5 years, and I just kind of run the office, everything from, I don't know, marketing, financials, making sure everyone's getting along and happy.
She's our mom.
She's like
our headmaster.
Operations, yeah.
I'm with all the
pretty
bad
much.
You have to whip people into shape
Pretty
if they're
much,
not doing their job.
I do.
And she's handling the other important part of the business side,
Yes.
numbers and all that stuff. So it's really great. Couldn't do it without someone like Amber in the office. So
my OCD.
yes.
Right.
We also have Dr. Wynn, Dr. Rejuvenation.
Yes. Also known as your honey bear.
Yes.
Ooh.
For those of you guys.
Is that a new nickname? I never knew that one.
No. It's Pookie. Pookie.
Oh, I've heard that
Yeah,
one.
Pookie.
Pookie bear.
I've heard that.
So for those new listeners, if they don't know, Dr. Rejuvenation and Dr. Dallas, myself, we are married.
Yes.
Yay for us.
For how many?
Yay for you guys.
How many years now?
2006. So let's do the math. 13? 13 years.
9.
Lucky number
no.
13.
No, is that 12?
Yeah.
2019 minus 6.
9 minus
13.
4.
I'm getting my fingers out.
No, it's 13.
I know, I'm like,
It's
Okay,
13.
everybody.
13 years.
I excelled in math.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I think about Friday the 13th, though. That's like, is that lucky? or
Lucky
is that-
number 13.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh. So you're saying every Friday is a bad for this year 13?
Only Friday the 13th is bad.
You know,
Is
because
what
she
she's
said
saying.
lucky 13, but when I think of 13, I think of like
Bad
Halloween
juju,
scary.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
that's
not
true.
for you guys.
But no, you guys
No.
are.
So you guys have been married 13 years.
13
Yeah.
years.
So for our new listeners, Dr. Rejuvenation, what do you do here?
I am Dr. Rejuvenation, vaginal rejuvenation. So I do cosmetic vaginal surgery, everything below the belt.
Yes.
So you're tightening and rejuvenating and doing everything from surgery to non-surgical stuff down there, right?
Laser tightening, rejuvenation shots. Ask me about that later.
Yeah.
So, this is some pretty interesting stuff. And along with what I do, I do body contouring. So when people come to us, sometimes they come to us for both,
Yes,
kind
they
of doing
do.
all the stuff above the belt and below the belt with Dr. Rejuvenation.
The
So,
complete mommy makeover.
yeah. So it's really nice to kind of offer both those things. We also have Angelica, who's our social media coordinator. Angelica, kind of tell everybody, some of the new listeners, what you do here.
So I run all of our social media accounts from Instagram to Snapchat to producing this podcast. So if you guys want to watch unedited Snapchats and surgeries, follow us on our Snapchat and Instagram at Real Dr. Dallas.
Yes.
And our podcast, it's Dr. Dallas Unleashed. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you can find a podcast, because it's definitely worth listening to.
Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
it's fun.
And this is also going to be put on, YouTube, a video format. So for those of you guys who like listening, but also want to see our faces, check out on YouTube, right?
Right.
On the Dr. Dallas YouTube channel.
Yes.
Yep.
So that'll be really interesting to kind of see everything that we do here, plus some bloopers.
Definitely. We have
bloopers
some
and-
good ones.
Like everything.
Especially
Surgeries,
yours.
Yeah, my bloopers.
yours, our vlogs, surgeries.
Yes.
So you could see pretty much anything that you're wanting to on when it comes to surgery.
You can see Angelica's I Have Boobs vlog that
see
recently
yours.
was
Oh,
just
that's a great
published,
one.
and it's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's a good one. It's a
And
little
Amber,
long,
you
but-
have a
I
very
do.
interesting vlog about
I have a
her
good vlog.
Yeah, her
Yeah.
mommy makeover. So
Yes.
Yeah.
check it out. That's a lot of good stuff. Amber, you got a lot of interesting stuff. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
But for all our new listeners, we have a lot of podcasts out there. We're going to put some stuff on YouTube. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about social media and how that has changed plastic surgery and cosmetic surgery.
Oh, yeah.
So, for our practice, it really has changed quite a bit. And Amber, who's been with us the longest, how
Yeah.
many years now?
About 7.5 years.
About 7.5 years now.
It doesn't seem that
You're
long. It
looking
seems
at
like
me like-
so much
Feels like
longer.
20.
It seems like, yeah. It
She's
seems
looking
like
at
20.
me like, if it's 7.5 years underwater, where it's like a million years.
It's been a long time.
But yeah, you're with us when we weren't doing a whole
Correct.
bunch on social media. So it was very different. So maybe you can tell some of the listeners what it was like, doing plastic surgery here without the social media.
It was definitely different. Well, I've been in the industry for almost 15 years. So when I
Right.
first started in plastic surgery, I got my job in a newspaper clipping. It's just
wow.
a doctor's office. There was no social media. There was Craigslist. None of that existed.
Like the yellow pages. When people put
totally,
out ads on the yellow
totally.
pages or
So,
newspaper right
yeah.
next to the obituaries looking for, cosmetic coordinator.
Yeah. So even the internet wasn't as popular. So trying to find before and after photos was definitely a lot different. But I would say before we got active on social media, people were just finding us more like in the community or
Right.
through print ad or your website or just because of your name. So it was a lot different. When patients would come in, you would almost kind of have to sell yourself and work a little bit more and
Right.
hustle.
Yeah.
But now, no. They come in, they're like, I want surgery with Dr. Dallas. This is what I want. When can you get me in? Can I see you next week? Or
Right.
what about for you? How does it change the
Yeah,
consultation for you?
Totally. So like you said, when people came in, they would ask, hard questions
Yep.
like, how many tummy tucks have you done? How long, I look very young
You
for
do.
my age. And even back then, 7 years ago,
You had no facial
I had
hair.
no facial
So
hair.
you look like a baby.
yeah.
Maybe Dr. D.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a
We
little-
should post a photo on Instagram.
We
on
should.
Flashback.
I got
and
some
some
good ones.
old
A side by
Instagram
side, that would be good.
videos.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh
I'm
my
embarrassed.
God.
I have those. Those
we
are the
have
best.
them.
This is Dr.
It makes me
Dallas.
hyper.
Welcome back.
Hyperventilate
You were
thinking
super
about this.
monotone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you don't know how to do that stuff. You're just kind of like, this is totally new, but
Yeah.
it takes time. But yeah, like you said, it was totally different. People wanted
Mm-hmm.
to know how long you've been doing this. They would ask questions like, have you ever had anybody die while you've been
Yeah.
doing this?
Yeah.
And so, I think those are legit questions, but you're really having to sell yourself as
Yes.
a plastic surgeon. And so now when we do stuff on Snapchat or Instagram, they see me. So they see a little bit of the personality and they see the surgeries, right?
Yeah.
So if someone's interested in a tummy tuck, they're seeing me do a tummy tuck. They see me cutting the skin, suturing. It's so weird when someone says, oh yeah, I think I have a rectus diastasis. I saw you do it the other day. I'm like, how do you even know that word?
Yeah.
Right.
But it's because
Crazy.
I said it in the surgery and they see
Yeah.
me tighten the muscles. So patients have also gotten a lot more educated.
Yes.
And they ask really great questions. So I think for the most part, it's really great. And we're not doing so much like I've done, 100 plus or 1,000 of this or that. They're like, I really like what you do. You
Yep.
seem like someone I can really trust and
Yeah.
I want to schedule. And I'm
Totally.
like, let me at least give you my spiel, right?
Yes.
So I can
Right.
tell you some of the good and, the consents that we do and tell people what the surgery is all about.
Yeah.
Let me at least tell you a little bit about it. And then they can sign up for it. So yeah, it's totally changed the way we do consults.
Totally. But
Yeah.
I think patients also feel more comfortable because they get
Yeah.
to know you through social media. So when they
Right.
come in, they're so comfortable that they're excited about the
Right.
surgery. It's definitely different.
Yeah, they feel like they're kind of meeting, I know Dr. Wen and I, when we go out, and travel, people recognize us like in the airport.
So
They're like,
cool.
oh my goodness, it's Dr. Rejuvenation and Dr. Dallas. Can we get a picture?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Or they'll be like, wait, are you? Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
Oh, the other thing too is because we share a lot of our family on there
Yes.
too, right?
Right.
So we have two sons, Luke and Nico, who are now they're 9. He just turned 9, and
Last
our other
week.
one is turning in a few days.
Yeah.
It's gonna be turning 6.
Yeah.
So
Get that right.
Yeah. So, but people will like even in the airport or Peter Piper Pizza. I went to Peter Piper
Your
Pizza.
favorite place?
I love
Yes,
it.
we're sad that it closed down.
Yeah.
I'd never had Peter Piper pizza until I met you.
Yeah, I love PPPPPP.
Oh my god!
And but they'll be like, "I know you," and they say that to Luke, and Luke's like, "What do you mean? How do you know me?"
So cool.
It was weird that he would get recognized, and they would look for me, and then they want a picture. So
Yeah.
like, I had cooks from Peter Piper Pizza in the back wanting to take pictures. So
That's so cool.
it's a
So
super
cool.
neat, super humbling, because
Totally.
it wasn't something we were always looking for. Like, oh,
Yeah,
I want to
no.
be recognized out there. I'm sort of more of I don't know. It's nice, but I never aspired to do that. It was me wanting to educate people
Totally.
about surgery so they understood it and sort of demystified what was scary to a lot of people, So I
But
don't
it
know.
does make us much more relatable too. I
Yes.
think,
Yeah.
to see a husband and wife team who, we have lives outside of work. We
Right.
raise 2 boys. We have the same struggles everybody else has.
Yeah.
But it's patients are definitely way more educated, and it's nice when they come and they already feel like they know us and know what we can do and what we can deliver.
Right.
Totally.
And it's, like you said, it's very relatable. People kind of understand and see our lives in the office and outside the office, right? I mean, we go home and we're taking the
hustle
kids.
is real.
Yeah, the hustle is real. Amber knows that too. She's married. She has a little girl. And, you're office manager by day.
Yeah.
And then during the weekends and after, you're
Super
a mom
by night.
Crazy mom. Yep.
So
totally.
But yeah, I think seeing that, because I think of plastic surgeons when I was going through it, I saw them, driving the Ferraris, big cars. Right. Oh my God, so glamorous. You know what? I'm driving my I used to drive that Honda Accord.
You used to drive a Honda. Yes, I do remember your Honda.
Little Honda Accord, little white one.
I forgot about that.
No upgrades.
No upgrades.
Rolling
No power
up my
steering.
window. No, I'm just joking.
No, you had power. Did you have power windows?
Yeah, I had power windows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But, and it wasn't something like, oh, I can't wait till I can afford that Ferrari. It was just like, you know what? I want to have, a life outside where I can make it to my kids' soccer games and all that stuff.
Yeah,
to me, that was the biggest thing. And I think people really relate to that because they're, we're taking care of moms who have similar, things. They have kids that they run around. They don't have time to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
So, it's been great. I don't know. Do you see a big change, from what you do, Dr. Nguyen, which is a little bit different from what I do? How's that change what you do?
Well, mine's a little bit much more different just because vaginal rejuvenation is a taboo topic, right?
Yeah.
It's a very intimate area. It's very sensitive. Most women don't feel comfortable talking to their spouses about it, let alone like their physicians about it. So now in the day of social media, it's super nice because the Kardashians talk about it. Vaginal rejuvenation is not so hush hush like it used to be. So patients are way more educated, which has been a real big blessing. Because I think for all these women who've been bothered by vaginal issues down below and have been too timid to talk about it, now they kind of feel a little bit more liberated and feel much more comfortable coming to talk about it and know that I can do something about it.
Yeah. And now they can see it too, right? If they log in and kind of see what you do, because that's the other thing, right? To just talk about it is one thing. To actually know what you're going to go through and, the surgery itself, to actually come and see a video and see it a little bit more, although we can't show a lot.
No.
Because that's a little
on
bit more
our YouTube,
private.
we have more.
YouTube, Snapchat, we can too. Because
Okay.
Yes.
I don't have to edit anything.
Yeah.
As
So you
far as-
won't see my before and afters on Instagram or Facebook, but
Right.
definitely tune into Snapchat because I'll show those before and afters in surgery. And that's kind of nice to be able to kind of show exactly what I do and what to expect.
Yeah, I think, when people come and see you, do they have an idea of what they want to look like? Do they give you, I get people who give me pictures from like the internet. I always feel like they're porn models with these huge boobs.
Yeah.
They have to like edit out the big penis on the side.
Hey, that
But
was
do you-
my photo I showed you.
But do you get that too, where it's like
No.
from Hustler and they're showing you a picture of that vagina?
I don't think Hustler's showing that much.
So actually, no.
they do, Amber.
Oh.
They do. I
Do
know
they?
this.
Dr.
Did you know it?
Yeah, no, my subscription ran
He's
out
getting
the other
all
day.
red.
Yeah,
He's like,
no,
well,
but these
So no,
magazines-
most of the time they've really just looked at my before and afters on my website and have said, okay, I think I'm more like this person. Or the majority, believe it or not, are just trust that I'm going to do what I do. They know, they know what to expect from what I do based upon my before and after pictures. And so they don't really even say, I want, so many millimeters taken off. They're just like, okay, remove all this extra skin from my labia. It's really bothersome. I trust that you're going to make it beautiful. And that's what a lot of women say. Just make my vagina beautiful. That's no problem.
Wait, I have a question for you. I talked about Hustler a little bit. So back in the day, Playboy Hustler, when they showed that area, it was very hairy.
Bushy.
So people weren't actually looking at that area.
Talked about this a few
Do we-
episodes ago.
Do we think because now it's better or people like it shaved that people see like, oh, this is actually what it looks like? And that's
That's a
why
good
people
question.
are coming and wanting changes?
Yeah.
Now in the day of more women are going hairless, I think it is more bothersome when you have a lot of excess skin there because it's much more exposed.
Yeah.
So it definitely is much more comfortable to have all that extra skin surgically removed.
Yeah, I knew it. I was right.
See? Ding, ding,
Dr.
ding, ding.
Dallas.
Yeah. So, so overall, social media has totally changed the way we do stuff. I think in general, it just sort of demystified surgery. Because when you
Yes.
think of surgery, and maybe even Angelica can point to this because she's, younger and, she herself has undergone surgery. But Before you worked here and you were kind of inside the OR, when you thought about plastic surgery, what came to mind? Even growing up and maybe friends or family, what was plastic surgery in your mind growing up?
For me, it was really just anybody. I thought more of celebrities.
Yeah.
So anybody who had a lot of money would get plastic surgery. I know one person before I moved to Texas who had plastic surgery, and I knew she wanted her boobs done for the longest time, and she went big. And when I think plastic surgery, when I was younger, I would think like porn star boobs, like no joke. And that's what this girl did. And so she met what I thought of it already.
Right.
So I moved out here. I had no idea about vaginal rejuvenation, not a single idea. So I got a lot of education through you guys, and I didn't know that people did all that stuff. So I guess
in Chicago, people don't do plastic surgery, or just not as much?
I don't think it's not as popular as it is here, for sure. Because out of all my friends, I'm the only one with any procedures done. And like even my sister's friends who are older, or even my brothers, like all of us, out of everybody, I'm the only one who has something done. And they're like, it was like shock when I got something done. So they were like,
oh, interesting. I'm from Orange County, and even 15 years ago, everyone was doing plastic surgery.
Yeah.
So
well, I think it was probably the circles you guys traveled in. You know, you came from, you know, probably in the suburbs of Chicago, right? Because I trained in Chicago, and there are a ton of plastic surgeons in Chicago. So it's not like it wasn't there, but perhaps your circle of people just didn't have it. But it also goes to show you, even back then, you know, plastic surgery was more on the DL, right? So I bet you there were a lot of people you walk by every day, probably knew, but they didn't want to say anything, right? You know, surgery was for the rich, or if you had it, don't tell anybody.
Exactly. Well, and now you look at like young people coming in too. So you would think about, you know, a 22-year-old coming in, getting a full mommy makeover, and you're like, how, you know, if you're in your mindset that it's for the rich, like how does somebody who's that young, who's still in college, maybe doing that?
Sure.
So,
well, it might be that younger women are having children but looking to, you know, kind of restore where they were before. But when you have 2 or 3 kids and you're 26, you know, that can be a big thing where you look at yourself in the mirror and all your other friends look great and they haven't had children. They want to get back as soon as possible to where they were looking beforehand. But I think with social media, it's a lot more okay to be out there and tell someone. We have people all the time who are like, why didn't you put up my tummy tuck or BBL on Instagram and Snap? Just the other day, right? And it was just something that was overlooked, but they were like, almost like, why didn't you put it on? What happened? Something was weird.
Yeah, they were insulted for sure. I mean, we showcase as much as we can.
Yeah. And of course, we don't show it if someone doesn't give us consent. So that's a big thing. Only if you give us permission. But I think it's so, you know, crazy because that didn't happen, you know, 7-6 years ago, where they were like, why didn't you put my BBL on you know, Snapchat or Instagram? And I'm like, oh, wow, we just, you know, that part we didn't, or whatever the case might be. But they were just surprised. As before, it was like, don't you ever tell anybody. You know, I got to come in through the back door at 9 o'clock at night so no one sees me. It's not like that. People actually want to share their big butts on social media.
And their selfies of what they've gotten done, and they're proud of it. So,
I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I'll say personally for myself, before my surgery, like I didn't want to post it at all. Like, I didn't want to show anyone my photos, my videos. I was very embarrassed. I made a fake chart in our medical, like,
I forgot about that,
because I didn't want other people to look. I was like mortified, right? But then after I did the surgery, I was like, hell yeah, I'll do whatever. You want a bikini shot? You want this? You do that, because you just get your confidence back. So especially with social media, I'm older. I'm not really into social media as much as Angelica is. So I was more hesitant about it. But then once I posted my vlog and photos, I think more moms were like, oh man, I feel more comfortable. That's how I am.
Tell everybody how old you are, Amber. You're
I'm
not
33.
that old. Yeah.
But
so
I'm working
old.
with all these like young girls who are like in their 20s. So I'm like the old mom in the office.
You're not the old mom in the office. I mean, I'm the young dog in the office. You know?
Angelica, how old are you?
25.
But we have younger than that though too.
Younger. We got 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds.
When I was 25, but when I was 25, I was already married for 4 years, and I had a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Right?
But your
So
vlog has been so helpful,
It's
right?
been so
It's reached
helpful.
out to so many people. It's pretty cool.
Which is
20,000.
nuts though. If you think about social media, back then, like 10 years ago, that wasn't there. I would have never even thought about posting it. And to be able to share my experience and help other moms and, you know, girls, that's important.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the part about social media, right? When you put up your vlog telling like the real deal, right?
Yes.
It freaking hurt. It sucked the first few days.
Totally.
I mean, you really told people how
was a
miserable
psycho.
you felt. But how did it feel when you got all that feedback from people about how it made them feel about deciding whether they have surgery or not. What are some of the feedback you got when you did that?
It felt really good. I was in the office maybe about a month ago, and a lady stopped me, and she was like, "Oh my God, your vlog saved me." She's like, "I watched the vlog like 6 times," and her husband's like, "Yes," she wouldn't stop watching it. It really helped her.
Right.
But I just wanted to be honest. I felt like no one was ever honest, especially with social media. Everyone trying to portray this image that I wanted just to be real and tell people it sucked. I told you after I had my surgery that I would never recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
But like now I'm so glad I did it.
Oh my God.
And
Remember when she was walking around with a walker?
I was crying. I hated life. I was really depressed for like 3
Yeah.
months, people. It sucked.
Yeah, but look at you now.
I know, but
With a
right.
bomb ass body.
And it's always in the moment too, right? And, you know, everybody's like that after
I was like that
a
for 3
big-
months.
But there are a lot of people, even for the first week, they're like, I can't believe I did this.
Yes.
This hurts so
Right.
much. So, but it's really nice to hear somebody. And I think you get as much as you give.
Yes.
So
Right.
when I get, and that's what I really feel like what I do on social media, I'm giving people what my life, what I think
Yes.
about when I do surgery. And I think people relate to that because I'm telling them the real deal. You know, if something looks hard and I don't know about this case, I say, this is going to be hard, you know, or she gave me this picture and she wants to look like Nicki Minaj and Nicki Minaj. I tell them, I don't know if I can do that.
Right.
And I find a lot of people appreciate the honesty. Like I
Yes.
can't do that.
Totally.
And, or I can do that, but it's not all, you know, candy and ice cream all the time, you know,
Right.
surgery is a real deal. And, you know, but that's what's good when you share that on Snapchat and everything, people kind of see who you are and what you're all about. And people sign up for surgery knowing they're going to get this, you know, they're going to get that type of person taking care of them in those results that we show. So,
Yeah. Is there anything you don't like about social media?
I think that's the other thing, some of the downsides, and probably Dr. Wayne can share too, is some of the unrealistic expectations with social media and Instagram and the filters. But I certainly see a lot of these people who want to look a certain way. Dr. Wayne, do you find that people just have, you know,
Or cosmetic vaginal surgery, not so much. On the med spa side, when we're doing fillers and Botox, mainly more so for fillers, I may have patients come in and be like, I want to look like how I do with the filter. And I'm like, well, it's making you look like you're 20 years younger. So it's a little bit unrealistic. But on the surgery side, I find that it's pretty on par.
I think it just depends because I can look up celebrities and that's what a lot of people look at now is celebrity trends and you'll see the edited versions on their Instagram. But if you go to Google and you look up a celebrity, you'll see that they have cellulite, that they have, you know, little dimples here and there, depending on what it is. And they're not as small. And you can tell that they use Photoshop, Facetune, any editing.
those waistlines being snatched beyond
There's
like
no way. Sometimes you're like, okay, did you get a rib removed? You know, did you, what did you do?
Yeah.
Because that's not realistic. And then when you compare it to the other, I mean, when I put like celebrities back to back and I use their realistic photos, people are like, that's just a really bad angle. No, it's an unedited real version of them. And they just, it's
Not
tough for people to
crazy.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, bending over at the waist to kind of smooth out the butt and the skin, and it looks perfect because it's like right there.
Right.
But you know, it's not an ideal that we can do in surgery all the time. And they're showing us pictures of people who haven't had children before too, right?
Yes.
They want breasts to look like this, you know, young 20-year-old, but they've had 4 kids and their breasts are hanging and they need a breast lift. They need I think that's the downside is, you know, these unrealistic sort of pictures that they give us and but again, that's where they come into the office, we educate them and go, listen, I can do this, but it's not going to look exactly like this picture. Maybe more like this one. So I don't know. Angelica, you had a breast augmentation, but I think your wishes were pretty realistic. I mean, did you ever, was there anything about the experience that you would have thought, oh, I wish I would have known that beforehand, or it was sort of as advertised?
It was pretty much as advertised. I mean, since I'm in the OR all the time with you, I see it. And so I was probably more educated than the common person.
Right.
So I knew what to expect. But as far as after, everybody's like, you're going to be in so much pain. And to be honest, I wasn't. I gave a whole vlog as well. So you can watch mine. It's pretty...
It's good. It's entertaining. She had a breast augmentation, but she was, I liked watching it. It was, your personality came through and pretty funny. Just seeing someone excited about doing a procedure.
So excited.
So great.
That's what it was. I think my excitement really helped me through the whole thing too, because I feel like I've always had very small boobs and pecs. And so...
And you work out a lot too. So you were built and you had, you know, muscles, but not the volume that you wanted. And probably clothing was a big deal too, right? Just fitting in clothing.
Like super loose. And like I there was nothing to like fill out my shirts. So I looked crazy. And now I feel a lot more confident because I have boobs, guys.
Yes.
So.
And look at her running through guys like it's no big deal.
Oh my God.
So that kind of brings me to the other point too, because social media has changed the way not only women look at it, but women or men, but they always come in with their significant others, right?
Yes.
Boyfriends, girlfriends, that sort of thing. And so for the longest time, I think women were held back by husbands who didn't, oh, you can't do that. It's too dangerous. But then they'll say, hey, take a look at this Snapchat. Look what he's doing. And they feel a lot more comfortable because now their husband can see what we do.
Yeah.
That it's not I'm not taking a lightsaber and cutting people, right? It's all very controlled. But, you had somebody who was with you, right?
Yeah.
It was a boyfriend at the time.
Right.
How was that experience having, knowing that he knew what we did and you could see stuff on Snapchat?
Right.
Was it helpful? Was it for him?
I mean, he's
and you can
around
give us
it.
your experience because maybe it wasn't ideal. So
I mean, he knows what we do.
Right.
He wasn't into watching like surgeries or anything. So he never really got that whole educational background unless I explained it to him. But I know he wanted me a certain size at one point, and I was like, I just know that's going to be just too big on my body. I don't want that. And he
can
was
I
like,
ask you what size he wanted?
I'm curious.
he wanted at least the minimum 350. Which
Okay.
isn't
So
big.
350 cc's
Yeah.
for listeners is about it. That ranges
Like a small D.
Okay. Well, that
Well,
could be
it's
different
different.
for someone that if you put 350s in someone that's already
Right.
large chested,
Oh, okay.
it's going to be
Yeah.
different than you put it with somebody that's like an 8
Right.
cup.
True.
So that's a big thing. People
Yeah.
always think 3 cc's
Yes.
is cup sizes. It doesn't work that way with implants.
And implants don't come in cup sizes.
cup
They're not like,
sizes.
oh, can I have the C cup? Well, no, they
Right.
don't come. They're CCs.
It's true though. I
Exactly.
didn't know that. You know
Me
what I
neither.
mean? Like
Yeah.
most of us don't know that until you actually.
And Dr. Wynn went to medical school and she thought they
Yeah.
were C cup
Right.
implants.
Well-
but you don't know these things until you actually are in the plastic surgery
Yeah.
arena.
Right.
But yeah, so he thought, what size did he want?
He wanted like probably a small D,
Small D.
medium
Okay.
D. Just I mean, I wanted a small C personally. I was
Yeah.
like, look, I'm going to be running. I'm going to be working out. I don't want anything to
All
get
that
in the
extra
way.
weight. Yeah.
Right. I don't want them bouncing in my face. I'm good. And
But those
so,
are legit things for people.
So, that was what he wanted. He would Google pictures all the time and send them to me like, hey, I think this is matching your body type. And I was like, I was trusting what you were saying. Like,
Right.
I think you should range from like 295 to 325. And I was like, okay, whatever you guys think, I trust you, and so I guess with him, he was just like, you're going to want to go bigger. I'm going to want to go bigger. And then when it got done, he
Right.
was like, I'm glad you stayed that size. And I'm like,
Well, you're not
right.
even with him though,
No.
too. So you
Right.
would have made a decision on somebody that you're not even
Exactly.
with.
But do you get
want
that
him.
a lot, Dr. Dallas, where like the husband's like, okay, I want this size for
Oh,
my
yeah.
wife or my
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Totally.
It comes in all shapes and forms and
Yes.
sizes.
Yeah.
And even we're a good example, but not normally, we have some men who come in and they dictate everything that the woman wants, right? The woman doesn't even talk. He's like, I want her to have a full D, right? And she'll be like, well, blah, blah. He's like, no, we want a full D.
Right. Yes.
And if you say 400, we'll do 400. And the woman doesn't have much to say. Then you get some women who come in and are like, yeah, I'm thinking I want to be a full C. And the husband's like, well, I think maybe a C.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, shut up. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So it's a totally different dynamic. I mean, I would say, Dr. Wynn, you had a procedure as well. Correct.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was like a pause
Yeah,
for a
for a
second.
Is it okay? But I would say, we were on the side where it was really, you kind of, dictated the size. I didn't, it wasn't something like, oh, I think you need to be this size or that size. It was more about what you wanted and what you felt comfortable with, right?
Well, I think at the end of the day, I was like, okay, this is what my wish list is. But if you feel like it's too big or it's going to, because there is a certain size where you're stretching out the skin too much, then I trust what you think is reasonable.
But if
you're
I
the
said,
expert.
I want a double D, what would you say?
Oh, I'd be like, hell no.
Right.
So, so there is where I think the woman, and I think rightfully so, where the woman, it's her body. So
Right.
ultimately it
That's what
comes
it
down
is.
to her, and it's not my decision, even being the surgeon, to be like, yeah, you should have this. But I do think it's a little strange when the man, that dynamic is so different. And I don't know if that's because, and we can get into this, if the man's paying for it, right?
True.
He's the
That is
boyfriend, a
yes.
sugar daddy.
I do think if a guy's paying for it,
Yeah.
he should have a little bit of a say.
but in the end, it's still her
There
body.
should be a happy. Well, then
Right.
pay for your own breast.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Sorry. I think there needs to be a happy medium.
Yeah.
So,
I just-
We have
this-
a lot of guys that pay for breasts.
Yes, we see a lot of people.
But
like that.
those stories, the girls never really say anything,
True.
right?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
those cases, they're just normally
Well,
quiet.
who runs that relationship then?
Well, yeah. See, your boyfriend didn't pay for your breast, though.
But that brings us back to another point where, you had a previous man. Now you have a new man, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And he is now looking at purchasing you larger things like a car. But let's just take you back to, let's say he was going to come in and he was going to pay for your breast augmentation, right? And you want to be a C, and he says, no, I want you to be a double D. What do you say then? And he's paying for everything.
I would look at him like, are you going to be running with these jugs? That's not happening. I mean, you're fine. You can offer to pay for it. You can do it in the end, but they're on me, and I'm going to have to live with them. And then, who knows? Like down the road, I don't know if I don't personally. I like the size I'm at now. Right. So if he wanted me to go bigger, we would have to compromise. Like,
you guys would have to talk about it for sure.
Double D is not my thing. So I'd be like, look, you're going to be stuck with the C's. You're not getting bigger boobs. Right. I'm not getting bigger boobs either. So you could find somebody else, or that's kind of what it would come down to if it was a big deal. So
a sugar daddy to you, at least in that respect, you're still gonna, make most of the decision, right? Why are you laughing?
Mine is not a sugar daddy.
No, I know. Well,
you know my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Well, not this particular. Never mind.
No, well, let's get into it then, right? Oh. So, Angelica has a new person, right?
Yes.
And we'll say a boyfriend, sugar boyfriend, who is wanting to. Boyfriend, right?
Yes.
You guys aren't engaged.
Are you guys boyfriend girlfriend now? You're like legit?
Yes.
Yeah, we're legit.
Oh.
Exclusive legit? Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you're not sampling the buffet anymore?
The sampling is holding off.
Oh. She's, It's right now, you're a one-person.
Right. So I guess I'm off the market. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Off the market. So, and this new person has offered to purchase a larger purchase. What is that, Angelica?
Benny the Beamer.
Benny the Beamer.
Just
so we're looking at a new car. I want to go out with this guy so he can buy me a new car.
But
so
would
that's
you be
a big purchase.
Like if he bought you like a little Kia?
Yeah.
First, okay.
I mean, if you start big, then we got to go with big. And so I got the pictures of the Mercedes, so I took it and ran with it.
Okay.
Well, Amber, what do you think about it? You're in her
we already
spot.
know her thoughts.
No, well, go ahead.
You know my
need
spots. Well, my opinion, and this is my opinion. Everyone has their opinion, to each their own. It's fine, right? And I'm not judging by any means. That you're young, do your thing.
Yeah,
I just personally wouldn't do it. I feel like it's wrong. I think if you're in a long-term relationship and you're with a person for a long time, then do it. And if he wants to buy you a gift, accept the gift, right? But if you're only dating somebody for a few weeks or a month and he buys you something, what happens in 2 months and he decides to take the car? Now you're riding your bike to work? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I still got Jane. Okay, she's still
I
around.
hope you still keep your car.
She's staying.
I just feel like it's kind of, I'm not for it. Yeah. I'm all for buying expensive gifts. Like, I love it when my husband buys me nice stuff. Like, I have a fancy lifestyle. Yeah. Like, I like nice things.
Right.
But first dating somebody, I just feel like I'd be using him and taking advantage of him. Like, I want to start my relationship off like with a conversation and that way versus just gifts. I feel like it's not genuine.
Dr. Wynn, what do you think?
I think it's genuine, but then what happens after that, right? I'm like, okay, he just bought me this huge expensive car. So now do I owe him something? Yeah,
right. Exactly. That's my point. Exactly. What are the implications? What does he expect?
It's sex, of course, 100%.
Well, I think there's other things, but that might be one of them. Whoa.
But it is. But then what happens if 2 months goes by and you're not happy? Then what? Right?
And you're like, in your mind, you're probably justifying, all right, I should probably try to make this work. He bought me this huge expensive car. So that's
I just think that it's the power that he holds over you that you might not otherwise made other decisions. But, we'll just get to it. Like if he says, I want you to move to this particular place. Well, I got you a car. You need to kind of do that because I've done this for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, well, gosh, he bought me a big car. I may have to consider this more than I would have normally.
Well, it's a mix. I would base off my past, and I've moved for a boy before, and that didn't work. And it's a different. I guess it's a different situation. I didn't really have anything to lose, so I just went with it. And I moved here to Texas.
Right.
But I've established a life. I'm pretty independent as a person. Right. I have my own career with you guys.
Yes.
And I've learned how to be very financially stable on my own. I don't really rely on my parents for anything as much as I used to. And so I feel like I built that all up based off of my last two, not the best relationships.
Sure.
And so I found who I am. But am I willing to walk away from all of that to move to wherever he is? maybe in the future, depending on where we go with our relationship, but in early terms, I don't.
Yeah, but from what I hear, there's a full court press happening right now.
She's held her ground. She's held her ground.
Yeah. But I was saying, just like Amber was saying, this is very early on.
It's early.
And
it's so
to push
early.
you so early, my thought is, one, what does he expect? And maybe the sex thing too. But it's just the power that he may hold over you to be like, well, I think you should do this.
Yep.
Well, oh yeah, well, I bought you a $20,000-$30,000 car.
Right.
The other thing too, I'm thinking is, me personally, would I ever do that? No, I just wouldn't do that because I wouldn't feel like, do I have to purchase something for Dr. Wynn for her to like?
Yes,
I feel
yes,
like, is there not enough about my personality, my style that you wouldn't want to move or do things for me anyways?
No,
right?
that's not what it was about. He drove my car and he said, this is a liability. There's no safe thing about this car. I don't like you driving it. She shakes. She breaks down.
It's
she
true.
smokes. It's really true. It's broken down
Jane
5
could die.
times. Like it's on its last limb. My check engine light's always on. So I've gotten it towed 5 times and he just experienced it and he was like, yeah, no, you can't be driving this. As far as what type of car?
Yeah.
Now that was the nominee.
See, that's the thing too. And I that's sweet of him. And I don't know him, so I can't, speak personally. I just think you guys haven't even been dating like a month?
I know.
Not even that.
And what happens
It's
if it doesn't
so
go well,
soon.
right? That car goes back to him.
I mean, if he takes it back, then he gets it back, and I go back to Jane.
It wasn't a benevolent thing like, oh, you're driving a car that's a safety hazard. Let me get this for you. But if our relationship doesn't work, you're going to go right back to the piece of shit.
Yes,
See, I know.
Amen.
We've talked about that.
job.
We talked about how right now it's in his, and then eventually, like, it could possibly switch over to my name.
Right.
I mean, I don't think that this is the car that he wanted overall, so maybe he'll just, we'll figure out how it works.
So wait, so it's under his name, so he's making the payments. What about insurance and all that? He's
So
paying
I'm on
everything.
his insurance.
Oh, geez, Louise.
And the car's already paid off.
this guy, oh my God.
Remind us how many months has it been that you guys been dating?
It's been weeks. People.
Been days.
You can put in hours, 122 hours.
But I mean,
He's a kind and generous guy.
kind and generous guy. But I knew
don't
him
know.
before. I knew him from school.
That's
So
true.
You
it's not
don't
like we-
even remember him from your classroom.
But I remember him from the
Ooh.
fraternity.
Knowledge bomb just
saying.
got dropped all over.
I do. I just don't know what class we had together because I was a double major, okay? I took a lot of classes.
Oh my God.
I have 2 degrees, guys.
Well, I think, overall, it's not that we're knocking this other person.
Yes,
It's
totally.
more of like, you've grown into our family here, right?
Yes,
And that's
yes,
what being
yes.
and we care about you, we
Right,
respect
totally.
you, and know that you have a lot of potential.
Yeah.
And to perhaps see someone kind of controlling and doing things that otherwise, you have your own future, your own goals. You said
Yeah.
you're stable. You're your own person,
Right.
and hopefully they understand that.
Yeah.
And hopefully the relationship goes good. And if you go and have
Yes.
to, that's great. But he has to respect those things and not
Right.
expect certain things because he had a very expensive gift for you.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
we're just trying to give you advice based on married
Yes.
couples, right? Dr. Wynn and I.
My parents over here.
Yeah,
Amber,
Texas,
Brian.
they really are.
But we wouldn't say that if we didn't care about you,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
No,
totally.
I know.
So
I just
we're not
want you to
trying
be safe.
Poor Angelica,
Right.
she's like, whoa, this is like on
Right.
firing line.
No.
Roasted me over here.
Yeah, no. Just want the best.
But we also hear funny stories from Angelica
She is the best.
about dating, and I wish we had more time. But man, some of your stories, maybe you can just give us some highlights of stuff.
So actually, I think we should talk about this next episode. I
Okay.
dated this guy back in high school, and he was so desperate for attention that he lied about procedures, actual surgeries that he had done. So,
On himself?
but I guess that's for
Okay,
another
next week.
time.
Tell us next week.
Maybe
Pete.
he lied about Scrotox and said, I have to
Oh
see
my
this.
God, you
We're
and
not going to
Scrotox.
talk
You love
about
that
that
Scrotox.
anymore.
You all need to
No
go
more.
back to our few past episodes. We have some
Episode
good
number
ones.
2.
Sex
Yeah.
texting,
Yeah.
sugar daddies,
Right.
Scro talks.
Expensive gifts.
And then
that ties
Amber
into date.
Yes.
and Angelica, but Amber and some of the other girls really enlightened us with sexting before on a previous
Right.
episodes.
Did.
Amber has really taught me a lot about
Yes.
because I get it when Angelica and sex, but as another married person, I
Yes.
kind of take that as like, hey, that's something that married people can do and still
Totally.
find
Well,
really interesting. So,
I've been
homework.
married for 11 years and I'm like crazy sex texter.
See,
right. That's where Dr. Wynn
You've been
and I.
married 11. You've been married
11 years.
longer.
So last episode we gave Dr.
11
Dallas homework.
yeah, and you still haven't even done
And
it.
Dr. Rejuvenation, have you gotten anything?
Look at me with this
That's
pissy
lame.
face.
You know, we're going to
hijack your phone.
We were going to do it.
You
We
had
were,
homework.
but I was like, I can't do it,
that's
Angelica, you
funny.
do it.
I would've totally
That
done
would
it.
have been hilarious.
We just want to know if you would
I would have
figure
been
out.
like, this is not my husband.
She would have been like, "Who are you?
No, she would have
Are
said,
you drunk?"
Angelica,
I know.
what are you
Right.
doing?
You probably would have
You've
like
hijacked my husband.
So
The
let me just give a little
ransom.
highlight of that.
Yes.
So if I wanted to show what I was interested in, I would show the little waterfall donut eggplant.
The lips, you tell
it would
them.
be more so
In the order.
the eggplant would start.
Eggplant.
Or, well, it depends on what you're trying
An
to go
eggplant
for.
is what, Angelica?
The penis.
Penis, okay.
And the donut is obviously the vagina.
Okay.
And the waterfall is the wet.
The wawa.
That's the wet. So I guess I can come after or even before. Just
Yes.
depends on your guys'
Okay.
sex life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip that part. There's a tongue.
Mom and Dad.
There's
Oh, a
mouth.
tongue, yeah.
Yes.
So obviously you guys know what that means. And so you could put it in any order. I don't really know, what goes on in the bedroom for y'all, but whatever you guys think is the best idea.
Yeah.
That's what you could start off with. And Dr. Rejuvenation, when you get home, you know what to expect.
Yes, you're prepared.
Right.
See, I'm not into emojis.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't like
never really used them
emojis.
either.
I feel like they're little. I like verbal or photos. I feel like emojis are a little childish.
Photos are going to be kind of like, I
I'm
think the
so
next
scared
step
this is
up.
going to be like public knowledge.
I'll show you how to
Right.
delete them, Dr. Wynn.
Well, either
Trust
You
me.
said it's not
Okay.
deletable.
I didn't know it was
what?
deletable until I was looking through Sean's text messages and I was like, oh my God,
You
these
could delete
photos. I was
them.
like, I thought you deleted them. He's like, I did. So if you have an iPhone, on the top right corner of the little eye, you have to click
Yeah.
that and then it will show all your photos you've ever sent and you have to hold and delete it from there.
I'm so scared that I'm going to run my office.
Sean's so
like
bad.
it's all going to be
He
over the news.
created an album on his phone
Oh my
that
gosh.
is
Oh my
hidden.
gosh.
Yeah, you can do that.
I didn't even know that. I was like, what
That's like
the
really common
heck?
apparently.
And you can put
He's
a
like, well,
password
what
on
happens
it
if
too.
London sees my phone? I'm like, delete the photos. I delete the
Right.
photo. I literally will delete them like on my way home.
Yeah.
Or like on the weekends. But he has like a hidden folder.
Snapchat. They
Right.
We don't
disappear.
Snapchat. We're too old for Snap. Do you
Yeah.
Snapchat? Like
Well, not to each
beside- if
other,
it wasn't-
no.
The
No.
only reason I'm on Snapchat is for work, and that's it.
Right.
Like, do you Snapchat personally?
No. No.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
I
you should
do.
do photos. Well, of course you do.
Yeah.
But you should do text messages, gifts. There's some funny gifts.
I love gifts.
He's a big
you are
gift user,
totally,
you are.
dude. We will have a full-on conversation talking here tonight, just strictly gifts.
I bet
like-
does he send you the throw up one all the time?
No,
That's his
one time
favorite
said it, I
one.
was like, please stop.
Yeah. So that's a whole nother episode
Yes.
with sexting and, Angelica and dating and just, the past. So I think it's,
Right.
you guys got to check out some of the past episodes.
Totally.
Let's wrap this up, guys.
Right, yes.
So I just want to say thank you for everybody for being here. Dr. Wynn, Dr. Rejuvenation, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Amber here with us.
Yes.
You'll hear a lot from her as well. Thank you for being here, Amber.
Of course.
And of course, Angelica.
Yes.
Thank you guys for roasting me.
Yeah, roasting.
Totally.
It wasn't
It was
to
my
give you-
turn today.
Yeah, it wasn't to give you a hard time.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
it's
good
all
at it.
it's all done out of
Love.
love,
Yeah.
and we care. And you're the younger out of the group,
I am.
right?
Totally.
I mean, we're not experts, but we have some
Right.
experience. So
Right.
yeah, it's just done out of we care for you, make sure
Yeah.
you do the right stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, and yeah, so that is it for episode
12.
12. Oh my
yes.
goodness! So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time on Dr. Dallas Unleashed.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.